So today we are going to be reviewing the actor Christopher Reeves and his interpretation of Superman. I feel like every actor tries to be like him. Like, would you disagree, or is there another actor that are trying to be like?
No, I think everybody's trying to pay homage to him, and then there's still everybody takes a piece of what he did as Superman to begin with, and they try and somewhat make it their own, and just kind of there's always going to be a part of his Superman in every Superman that comes forward.
One thing when Christopher Reeves, we always say like, oh, he's the greatest. Like some people say he's the greatest Superman, but I think that's kind of hard because it's like he's kind of started it basically. So it's like, oh wow, yeah. So if you look at it that way, and then you look, and then you're like, oh man. And so I thought about that watching the first movie. I was like, are we just kind of like, could he be overrated? What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm David.
I'm Emery.
And today we are going to be doing a new segment series that actually our dad came up with. He's like, so the new Superman movie's coming out. You guys should really do something that can promote that, kind of hype up the new Superman movie because we're both big Superman fans. And he's like, you guys should do something that kind of pays homage to the old Supermans, but also kind of paves a way for the new Superman, David Cornsweet. So today we are going to be reviewing the actor Christopher Reeves and his interpretation of Superman. And this is going to be a series. We're going to do every single live action Superman actor. It's going to be a short little mini series, and we're going to start with Christopher Reeves and end with the latest Superman. And comment down below if there's any actors you want us to do. But we're going to start with Christopher Reeves. I know there's George Reeves. He did the live action show before the movie. But Christopher Reeves kind of paved the way truly for Superman. So I think we should review him and hop right into this. Emery, what are your first thoughts? And when you see Christopher Reeves, how do you feel about the guy?
I think that he does a really good job playing like the two characters well. Like, he does a good job at making you. They are like different people, but not to the point where like they still have the same heart. It's just that one of them's in a disguise and the other one's not. So
yeah, totally.
I think he plays a really good role, and it's very light and it's very bright, and I like it.
Yeah, totally. I really like Christopher Reeves. He was like, as a kid, I remember I watched the Man cartoons, the animated series, and then our dad showed us the Christopher Reeves Superman when we were pretty young. Like, I was probably in the first grade. You were probably.
I was in what?
I don't want to do
Third
math.
grade?
I don't want to do math right now.
Third
So
grade then?
probably, yeah, you're the math person. But I really like Christopher Reeves. I thought it was a very hopeful movie. I think that he truly did pave the way. He is the standard of Superman. I feel like every actor tries to be like him. Like, would you disagree, or is there another actor that are trying to be like?
No, I think everybody's trying to pay homage to him, and then there's still everybody takes a piece of what he did as Superman to begin with, and they try and somewhat make it their own, and just kind of there's always going to be a part of his Superman in every Superman that comes forward.
Totally. I love Christopher Reeves Superman, and I truly love him because he stands for what Superman should stand for, which is truth and justice, and he does it in such a great way. He shows that, represents that. I love the montage they have where it's the first time we see him as Superman. He comes out of the booth, he saves Lois, he stops a ton of criminals, but at the end of the day, he helps a girl with her cat.
I loved that, yeah.
I think that's so inspiring and so cool. It shows that, yeah, he's this demigod-like creature, but he truly is just a man for the people. And I feel like it's easy to relate to him, you know, and I really want to see that in more interpretations that we will be reviewing. And so I personally think he does such a good job at making you want to be a better person while you watch him, you know? I truly like him. I think he's great. His suit is kind of outdated, Would you believe
Was
so?
it for that time though?
That is true. Yeah, that is true. It was back then pretty good. Because they'd never really done like a superhero movie. You know, they had done a few superhero movies, but nothing crazy. You know.
Yeah, that's how I think about a lot of them. And as I try and like now, it might seem very outdated, but I try and think about it as like, was it then? Like, was it something that they were just, you know, they had run out of money or something, and so it was just a cheap option, or was it something that was very cutting edge at the time and they wanted to put it into the movie? So,
But no, yeah, that is true. I do actually kind of like his suit. I like how it's very simple. I think a lot of superhero suits are just like so much is going on that it takes away from what is the suit and what is the purpose of it, you know? And with Superman, it's supposed to represent the brightness in a dark world. And one thing with Henry Cavill's suit, it was very dark, and I was like, we need to go back to a Christopher Reeves suit.
yeah, I love the bright colors. It definitely just adds to like the person that he is, like the character that is being played. It's like he's very bright. He's, like you said, for the people. Like I feel like if it was darker, like I know if I was a little girl, I wouldn't be like, I'd be like, well, are you a good guy or a bad guy? Because usually bad guys wear dark colors. So it's like he was bright, and it made people want to like trust him with one getting their cat out of a tree or whatever it might be.
And we see in the third one how when he gets split apart in two people, there is a brighter Superman, and then there's this dark Superman where his color of his suit is like tinted in a darker color. So it's perfect how it's like, if it's bright, it's hopeful, it's more trusting, it opens your eyes. Now, when it comes to his physical appearance, when you look at the comics and you look at Christopher Reeves, how do you feel about that?
I like how he looks. I'm not a huge... Well, okay. I was going to say I'm not a huge fan of the big bulky, but I mean, that's just how lots of people do superheroes nowadays. But I like the fact that he's not super big.
Yeah.
Like, he is kind of a tall guy, but he's not like...
He's a very tall guy.
Yeah, he's not like ridiculously muscular. And I just think it adds to how he can kind of slip under the radar as Clark Kent. And it makes his powers more... like amazing and like fantastical, because like you would never expect him to be able to hold a bus or you know, whatever it might be. It
makes him blend in better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You see Henry Cavill and you're like, I know, as Clark Kent, you're like, I know that guy could beat me up. You know?
Right. It's like, yeah, there's no way that you're gonna like just fly under the radar with that one.
I truly love how Christopher Reeves plays Clark Kent. He's a very shy, quiet. He like slunches and crouches together. That scene where he like stops a bullet, but he faints, and Lois is like, "Did you just faint?" You know, it's so quirky and like he's super silly. But when those glasses come off and he rips his shirt open, he stands up straight. He's like, he drops his voice, you know, a little deeper, and it's more heroic and more brave.
Like in that scene when, like, I think it's for their date or something. Like he walks in and Lois goes to the bathroom, and he like takes off his glasses and like gets tall, like you said. And it's just like, oh my goodness, like there's Superman. Like, like it's just so cool. It's one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie. It just shows him as a character, how something little like that could totally make you change.
Totally. Yeah, totally. I think when I see Clark Kent and then I see Christopher Reeve Superman, it's so hard to tell who is who. Like, they truly don't look like the same person, because like Christopher Reeves as Clark Kent slicks his hair, wears the big clunky glasses, slouches, has more of like a high pitched voice. And then with Clark Kent, he makes it more, not as slick back, more like flowy, puffy, I guess you could say. And he doesn't have his glasses, so you can see more of his like jawline. I don't know if there's like a science behind like glasses or like certain things, but I think like they do really well. And I think that's one of the hardest parts about playing Superman, is you have to basically play another character as well, which is Clark Kent, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's very interesting. Now, when it comes to Superman, he always has to have his love interest, Lois Lane. How do you feel about the actress that plays Lois? And is it the same way that we pay homage to how other actors pay homage to Superman?
I think yes and no. I think that there are aspects of her being like the super independent and like she's kind of like, oh no, I'm gung-ho on being a good reporter, like I don't really need anybody, everybody else is kind of in my way. I think that kind of idea of her not necessarily needing anybody is something that they've kept throughout like all of this time, but I think a lot of people, they take a lot more of their own, their own ways of doing Lois and adding that to their characters. So yeah, yes and no. I think there's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I originally was like, because like I rewatched the first Christopher Reeves Superman movie to get prepared for this episode, and I was like, I don't really think people really like look up to this Lois or like go back to watch this Lois. I don't really think she's made a big impact like Christopher Reeves has as Superman. And then watching it, my goodness, they actually, like, a lot of people do go back and they do try to like respect her and pay homage to her, because she plays that reporter that's like cocky. She wants to get in the story. She kind of pushes Clark a little bit out of his comfort zone, or she's kind of the man in the relationship, you could say, when Clark's around. But man, yeah, it's crazy. It's like those people have made such a big legacy that I think the new Superman they're trying to make, they're kind of going back to those times where it was like, we get one shot at this, you know, and are we going to take it and make a great Superman movie? Are we going to make people believe a man can fly, or are we just going to make another generic movie? Right.
I think that's that's such a good way of putting it. It's like, are we going to actually do something that makes them like believe in the impossible? It's like in stuff like the Christopher Reeves is like, you didn't really, I mean, of course you grew up with comics and you had the shows and stuff, but this was really, I feel like the first big one where you were like, wow, like this in your mind, you know, like, wow, this could really happen. Like, that's so cool. Just like a normal everyday guy. And then he turns out to be some incredible superhero.
Totally.
And I think they need to bring that back into movies. And like you said, it's just kind of like for a long time, I just felt like it's been, it's another story. And it's like, it should be more of an experience.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. One thing when Christopher Reeves, we always say like, oh, he's the greatest. Like some people say he's the greatest Superman. But I think it's kind of hard because it's like, he's kind of started it basically. So it's like, if I came up with, you know, a game like wiffle ball or something, and I play it. It's like, of course you're gonna be the greatest player because you founded the game. Like you started the game,
and everybody else is always playing your part, just like on their own. So it's like it's hard to compare. Yeah.
So I think it's like, oh wow, yeah. So if you look at it that way, and then you're like, oh man. And so I thought about that watching the first movie. I was like, are we just kind of like, could he be overrated? You know? But I don't think he is. I think he truly is like the greatest Superman actor to ever live, you know?
And I feel like to be able to do what he did just shows that he is that good.
So throughout the series, we are going to have a tier list of the actors, and we're going to put them in first, second, third, fourth, fifth, you know, the stuff, 1 out of 10. And we're going to put them in that slot if they are the greatest, if they're not. And we're going to put them kind of like a 1 out of 10 list of the best Superman actors. Emery, where would you put Christopher Reeves out of this list? 1 out of 10. What are we thinking?
Trying to think of all the other ones off the top of my head real quick. I mean, I think I know where I have to put him because of everything that we just said.
Yeah, personally, I don't know why you're hesitating this much, but yeah.
Yeah, I just, like, he's got to be at number 1 because of everything we just said. Like, he's the original, everything that he did created the Superman that we now have. So he's got to be number 1. And then the people after that, they're going to be really good.
And if we find a Superman actor that is better than Christopher Reeves after rewatching, we could take down Christopher Reeves as the number 1 and move up, let's say, another actor. But this is our first episode of the miniseries, so we're like, let's just wait, you know?
Yeah.
And the series will end when the new Superman movie comes out and we rank David Cornsweet. And that's when the series will end because he, hopefully, fingers crossed, will be playing Superman for a very long time. So right now, Christopher Reeves is the number 1 spot. Comment down below your top 10 for the greatest Superman actors of all time. And I think you want to add anything?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you guys so much. Peace. God bless. Have a great day.